Here, I guess that's what's so frustrating, and frustrating actually to some Republican senators and Democrats as well. And it certainly has to be frustrating to Dr. Fauci and other medical experts and scientists who are advising the president. They have a roadmap. They laid out a national roadmap. The president went out and embraced that roadmap as his own. And immediately after doing that, he began undercutting it and is encouraging states to not follow White House guidelines. So what's the current status of those White House guidelines that Anthony Fauci talked about again yesterday, that the president announced a couple of weeks ago? Are they applicable? Are they not applicable? Has the president discounted them openly yet, or is he discounting those White House guidelines privately? Where do we stand there?
Jared's comments sort of tipped the hand, if you will, Joe, where the focus has certainly been more about the economic impact of late than the public health impact. This is a president, his inner circle, both in the White House and his campaign team, are very anxious and unhappy about where things stand with the economy. They were certainly dismayed by the jobs report, the unemployment rate that was released last week, and that is where the focus is right
Jonathan,
now.
Excuse me for interrupting. I understand that's where the focus is, but do they not understand? Is there anybody in the president's inner circle that is explaining to him that if he doesn't listen to Dr. Fauci, if he doesn't listen to healthcare experts, if he doesn't listen to doctors, if he doesn't listen to nurses, if he rushes in too quickly, and if he ignores his own guidelines that he laid out to the public, that, as Dr. Fauci says, he causes another wave of infections, which sets our recovery back even more? Is there anybody in the White House that is explaining this basic reality to the president?
The short answer is not really. You are having some of the public health officials like Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx are saying that, both publicly but also privately in the Situation Room, in those task force meetings chaired by the vice president. Meetings, mind you, the president himself usually does not attend. But those meetings are happening less frequently now. They're even within the building. There's the focus towards the economy now, less of the public health. Yes, there are some congressional allies, some outside advisors who are still warning the president about how devastating it would be if there were a major flare-ups again over the summer, or indeed that second wave that Dr. Fauci yesterday again said he believes is coming, that there will be a second wave this fall. And that, of course, would devastate the economy in addition to costing thousands of Americans their lives. The president has, on occasion, bent to the public health advice. He did most famously, of course, when he backed off his idea of reopening the country by Easter. Instead, he pushed it back a few weeks. But the CDC guidelines were created. States haven't met the threshold to reopen, but the White House is not stopping them either. In some ways, that's because the White House is putting the onus again on the states. So if things go bad, perhaps the president can blame others for what happens rather than himself, which is sort of par for the course throughout this particular crisis. And lastly, as a key point, he's been told time and time again that they can't safely reopen until there is the widespread testing. And certainly that has improved. In that Monday press conference in the Rose Garden that ended rather contentiously, there is some good news there. Testing is better than it was, but it's not nearly high enough in order to really safeguard Americans to go back to work. And that's the point Senator Romney made yesterday during his testimony, as he was very critical of the administration's ability to test the nation as much as needed.